We got lost in a pond and we got 6 happily surprising things about living in America. As a Brit, I'm interested to see what these are. And if I'm going to move to America, what can I look forward to, really? Let's jump into this and check this out.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to the things that surprise us. Specifically, for me, the things that happily surprise me about living in the United States. Now, this might seem like a strange video to do at this time while many of us are trapped in our quarantine bunkers. But once we all emerge, I'm excited to start enjoying many of these things very, very soon, even though I didn't get to for the first 26 years of my life. America, today, I salute you.
This is going to be interesting.
Here are 6 happily surprising things about living in the United States.
Right, number 1.
I suppose sometimes, you know, it's the little things in life, or should I say, the litter things in life that please people. And, you know, growing up in a country that is a wasteland, quite frankly. I'm joking, Britain's not that bad.
Yo, I was going to say, I understand what you're saying. Like, there is litter in places, but it's not that bad. Like, it's not a wasteland.
But we do have a tendency just to, you know, throw litter around. And sometimes now, I've been hearing back in Britain since I've left, we've had this problem with fly tipping. And that's where, you know, people are dumping their trash. But even minus
to be fair, you know what? I've never seen that, though.
I just got this general
I don't go outside.
sense that Britain was just a bit more littery than America. In America, everywhere's super clean. That's one of the great things about it. You can enjoy the oxygen around you, knowing that it hasn't touched a chewing gum wrapper. This is usually the case.
Interesting.
I'm taking the examples of the places I've lived. This is about 4 different cities at this point, and in each and every one of them, you have very green, very well-kept gardens, very clear.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, the UK don't look anything like that. If the UK looked like this, then everyone would not litter. I don't litter personally, obviously, but I don't go outside. But yeah, maybe they wouldn't litter.
Sidewalks, although in some cases that could be because nobody used them. But it's really refreshing to go to the beach here in Chicago and not find discarded chippy wrappers or crushed Coca-Cola cans or used
I can imagine that a lot.
Americans on the whole are just better about not littering, and I know that that sounds like a generalization of the wild variety in it.
I can imagine, like, for me to go to a beach in the UK, they would be what he said. So Coke cans and chip shop wrappers and stuff like that. I can imagine that to be on the beach.
It makes me sound like a crotchety old man telling people to get off his yard, but at least my yard is clean. I mean, most in Britain are, to be fair. It's mostly the streets. And I should know, I grew up on the mean streets of Grimsby. It was actually a nice area, but, you know, sometimes the streets would still be littered with caviar containers.
Wait, surprisingly, what? Wait, soccer fields? Football fields? Wait, we have many of them.
This one was hugely surprising, especially as a fan of football, or as they say in the rest of the English-speaking world, soccer, because, you know, I'd always sort of understood America to not be truly interested in soccer or football, and in many respects, this is still true. At least, you know, when things are normal and sport is still happening, America still prioritizes NFL, basketball, hockey, and what's the other one? Baseball, above all other sports. And so it was just really surprising to this fresh-faced Brit who came equipped with a soccer ball to find that there were soccer fields aplenty. They were everywhere. Even in Anderson, Indiana, right, which is the place that I've lived that had the lowest population. But off the top of my head, I can already think of about 5 soccer fields in that city alone. They're very, very widespread, at least in the eastern portion of the United States.
See, that's interesting then, because I wouldn't think there was many football soccer fields out there in America.
United States. I can't speak for the sort of the plains and the Rockies, because can you imagine having soccer fields high up in the mountains? It might happen. If you live in those areas, let me know there's one somewhere. But I think one of the chief reasons that there are just so many of them is that they're very popular with school-age people.
Right.
And of course, it is one of the most popular sports in the United States played by women. You've just got to look at the overwhelming success of the US women's national team, who've won at this point about 2.5 million World Cups. England, of course, still waiting on theirs. And speaking of waiting, that brings us on to this.
Luckily, I'm not a crazy football fan, so fair enough. Wait, what?
America is known as the land of the free, and I always thought that...
Do I not go outside? Okay, so like in the UK, there's some toilets, like if you go to the beach, the seaside, whatever, there is toilets where you have to pay, but that is the only place where I've experienced it. Maybe in London as well, but pretty much every other place is free.
That was quite weird because, you know, I always considered Britain to be quite free, as in we had freedoms. But then I started to think, well, maybe it comes down to the little things, right? Something I noticed, of course, and I've talked about on this channel, is you can get free refills in,
Oh my
in
God,
any
I
kind
would
of
love
restaurant on your sodas. And the same is true of entering public toilets, except you don't drink the contents. Let's be clear about that. What I'm saying is, in Britain, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes,
it's quite
public
rare.
toilets will charge you an entry fee in order to use it.
It's not
And
common
I
at
can understand
all.
why they do this. You know, it's partly for the upkeep of said public toilets. But it's a big problem when you really need to go. Nobody wants to find themselves in a race to find their change versus a race to change their knickers.
See, that would be so bad. Like, let's say your stomach's going and it's going. You ain't gonna, you just jump the fence. You just jump the barrier, just go. Like, you ain't got time to get the coins out.
In America, though, I'm sure there are some quirky exceptions somewhere. You never have to worry about that. You just have to worry that people can see you through the crack.
Bro, the toilet gap is just, oh my God. And the cracks in your toilets. Why is it so public? It is public toilets.
I feel like I've
window
mentioned
screens.
window screens a lot in my videos, but you're not really in the context of how they've brought me a lot of joy.
Huh?
And that might sound really strange, right? But in England, we never had them. And we also
What?
never had air conditioning. So you find yourself in this strange situation, particularly on a warm summer's day, of having to open the window just to get some fresh air in. But of course, with that comes some other things. Things like, you know, mosquitoes, which, to be fair, in Britain aren't anywhere near as bad as they are in the American Midwest.
Yeah.
Or Big Daddy Longlegs, or, you know, bees. Bees can get in the house, and who wants that? Now, you know, bees...
Yeah, I hate opening my window for the simple fact of just daddy long legs, moths would just fly in. Oh, it's so annoying. And I hate bugs as well.
Bees and wasps and things like that are probably the most dangerous things that might get into your house in Britain. So it's not really a huge concern, but it can be an irritation. And it's an irritation that's largely alleviated in the United States by the existence of
I might have to get a window screen. Open a window, put the screen on. Boom.
window screens. I'm not saying that insects don't get in at all. I mean, I've seen enough ant colonizations in my kitchen to know that that's not true.
Oh my God.
But I do not remember the last time I encountered a wasp, a bee, or a mosquito inside my apartment. It just doesn't really happen. But the big revelation that is window screens doesn't just stop bugs from getting in, it also stops a certain somebody from getting out, and I'm not talking about my wife. She uses the door. Now in Britain, people might be a little less concerned about this because, you know, there's more of an outdoor cat culture there.
Yeah.
But my cat, much like the cats of many people in the United States, is very decidedly an indoor cat.
Oh, really?
If I want to open the window, as I did today, right, there are occasions during spring and autumn when, you know, it's not hot enough for the air conditioning unit and it's not cold enough for the heating. You want to crack a window open, right?
Wait, is that very normal to have indoor cats in the US then? Because in the UK, it's quite not normal to it's not common at all to have indoor cats. I do know people that do have indoor cats, but most of the time they're outside.
And if that were the case in Britain, on a lower floor or even the second floor, your cat's gone. And to me, that would be bad because, you know, recently I did have a dream that we lost him at the beach. And I know that curiosity isn't going to kill my cat, but a Prius would. Window screens save lives. Now, once we get the all clear to start en masse leaving our apartments, whether that is by the door or the window, then there's one aspect of America I will never take for granted again, and it's this.
National parks.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
you know,
I can imagine they'll be
fantastic
good.
national park system in the United Kingdom, and one, you know, I wished I'd experienced more while I lived there. And the same thing is happening right now as I live in America. I feel like I haven't seen enough of the national parks, or even sort of state parks or state forests.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot to see though.
Things of that nature. Now, I have experienced one or two, you know, Muir Woods near San Francisco, but I want to see the big ones. You know, I've sold out at this point. I want to do Yellowstone National Park. I want to do
That'd be
Yosemite.
cool.
I want to do Badlands. All of them basically in a week. Can we make that happen?
No,
Why not?
because combined they're larger than Britain.
Right. The national
To be fair, it would be really good videos watching him go and visit these national parks.
park system is amazing, protecting some of the most unbelievable natural settings I've ever experienced or will experience because, you know, I want to enter the Grand Canyon. That's not a euphemism. So I've already said to the wife, when we get out of this, we're cancelling the Paris trip. Even though she's always wanted to do it, so that's a little harsh. We're just going to go out west, you know, pack up our tents and grow mustaches
That is
like Teddy
cool.
Roosevelt. That's me, not the wife. Now, those of you that are new to this channel might not know that I used to do travel videos back in the day.
Okay.
And today, at the top of Ensign Peak, a wasp stung me.
But then that, combined with having to work a day job, just got a little challenging. So I put it on hold, but I think now that I'm YouTubing full-time, I might start it up again.
Here you are. Do travel videos to national parks. Boom.
I don't mean tomorrow, I mean when we've got the all clearance to go and do this sort of thing. This one might be the biggest one of all, hence why I saved it to last, because after all, what is a country without its people?
Yeah.
In America's case, it's one big land of unregulated national parks. And I think this one is on the mind because, well, I haven't seen any people except the 1.5 that I live with. And the good thing, I think...
To be fair, I've seen a lot of these videos, and the gist that I get from Americans, very friendly, very outspoken, confident, and just nice. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the UK, grumpy. Everyone is just grumpy. If you don't know someone in the UK, you're not going to be talking to them. They're just going to be grumpy, bro. Simple as that.
Surprising anyway about
grumpy.
Americans and American people is just how nice most of you are.
Right.
That's if you're not talking about politics or religion or PB&J sandwiches. Of course, there are wild exceptions, and I do mean wild.
Of course.
In any country, and I've certainly seen them here on occasion too. But they are the exception that proves the rule. Unlikely as it seems, I just have to look at the comment section beneath my videos. I know, sounds like a mistake. Never do that. But mostly it's Americans who comment, and for the most part, they're all really nice. You're all really nice, right? Most of you. I mean, I ignore the ones that aren't. I have a motto: focus on the flowers, not the weeds. And maybe this is a bad example. A good example would be in real life. Americans are very welcoming, you know, sometimes too welcoming. I've been invited to ranches by people I've never met. It's
Really?
But it happens, and I think it's just sort of bred into people to be hospitable. There's a lot of hospitality. You often hear of Hoosier hospitality.
It's cool though. I'd rather friendly than grumpy. So I'd definitely prefer to live there for the friendly people than to live here with grumpy people.
I lived in Indiana. You hear of Southern hospitality, an appreciation for other people that goes missing on Twitter, but for the most part, you don't have those kind of interactions in real life. Or at least that's been my experience of it. The interactions you have, I think, are mostly very nice. I think of going into shops. I think of going into restaurants, and I know that it's part of their job to treat the customer well. It can be split into two camps. Either you get that really sort of over-the-top cheeriness because they want a higher tip, or it feels very genuine, specifically when you're in a shop and you just...
Yeah, in the UK, you go into a shop, they're not even coming up to you. They're not. In fact, like, when I go to a shop and I want, like, help, I feel like I'm pestering them for help. I feel like I'm in the wrong to ask them for help.
Strike up a conversation with somebody. It's much easier to do, I think, than perhaps in Britain. We're a little more guarded, I think, about certain things like that.
Yeah.
Wild generalization again. And of course, I'm not saying that Americans are better than British people, but I think it's worth mentioning because if you're coming here and you expect everybody to fall into sort of one of 5 categories, right? Either a seedy boss type from an 80s Wall Street movie, a stoner kid, a surfer dude, they're one and the same, all of the characters from Friends, or Norman Bates from Psycho, then you're going to be disappointed or happily surprised, as I was. That's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me. Let me know in the comments below.
Enjoyed that. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.